Do you have to pick sides if you're a comic fan? It's funny because I saw this promo art that I had saved. I'm unpacking boxes. I'm getting ready to prepare of what's going to go into a new shop, and I'm doing the sort or destroy, keep, just throw away, whatever. And there was the Civil War ads. The which side are you on? And it was a big thing that Marvel was pushing at the time. Are you Team Cap, Team Iron Man? Which side are you on? And it got me thinking. This is how it feels to be in the comics community now. Which side are you on? Hey everybody, this is Perch. This may be kind of a depressing video. I'm just going to throw that out there because, in my mind, you shouldn't have to pick a side to enjoy comics. You should just be able to enjoy comics. So the side you pick is comics. And in most cases, this is true. Well, not in most. You can avoid it for a while, but it's a little bit like quicksand. The more you engage with the community, the more you are going to ultimately be pushed into a side. Now, my hope and my mission, I don't know about mission, but my desire, what I try and create is I want to firmly create a third side. I'm the crazy person who wants that third party, that third, not a Republican, not a Democrat, that other thing. No, not green. I'm not. Are you crazy? No, not green. Libertarian. No, they're weird. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Um, my point in all is that you can by and large just enjoy comics, but if you're going to get engaged with the community, very soon aspects of the community are going to want to draft you into one side or another. And it depends a little bit on where you're playing. If you're on Twitter, you're going to be on, Comic Pros, which kind of sit with anti-Comics Gate, or you have Comics Gate. I don't want to get into those terms because if you wander on over to Facebook, you get a whole other schism of people. And if you go into, you just it's not one size fits all, and that's the important thing that I want to state, because if you're coming from one of those communities, if you go to Twitter or you go to wherever you happen to go, you are seeing one slice of this. You must pick a side, di- dynamic going on. But there's other universes, other islands, other sides. There's other worlds in this multiverse, and so when you live in one of them, you think that your two sides are the only two sides, and the big battles being waged there. But then you go over to another one, you discover it's completely different, and yet at the same time, it's really all the same stuff. It's just the faces and the players are different. Whatever. I don't even want to throw it out names, but like a Rhymphamus that exists in one place does not necessarily exist in the other place. There's some different Rhymphamus. There's some different person. There's a Ethan Van Sciver in one place, but not another. It's how. I'm not saying anything controversial here. I'm just saying this is how the world operates and how it works. You have different groups and you have different areas and you have different little fiefdoms that get put up. But the tricky part is you get drafted into this battle. If you go out and you say, I think comic prices are too high, then before you know it, you are a hardcore Trump supporter, comic skater. If you say that you like Moon Girl as a comic, you're an SJW, the hidden enemy. You are that you're propping up pros who are unprofessional, etc. You get into these buckets really, really rapidly. And the challenge is it's very hard to get out of those buckets for many reasons. For one, and this is, again, I want to take a different perspective on this. The fandoms in general, whatever they happen to be, tend to get polarized. Whether you're pro, I'm on Team Star Trek, I'm on Team Star Wars, or you're on Team OG Star Trek, or Team Next Generation, or God help you if you like Voyager, whatever it happens to be, things tend to get into buckets very rapidly in fandoms. It's because people like things to debate about. It's why if you went to a comic shop in the 80s and 90s, you'd get the who's more powerful Silver Surfer Superman debate. If you went to a comic shop during that era, you are going to have that debate on you at some point. And you can either pick a side, and generally speaking, it's enjoyable to pick a side, because if you pick a side, then you can start to talk about Silver Surfer's powers, and it's just fun. It's fun to wander down those debate ends. The difference is we really like our arguments, and like anything, the more polarized it's got, the more on edge people have gotten, the more almost sports team driven it's gotten. It's no longer, you no longer can have an easy debate over Superman versus Silver Surfer. You're having over, are comic pros unprofessional, or are they professional, or is Al Ewing a monster, or what about Mark Waid, or I mean, it gets a lot more heavy than it needs to. And so, but it's very hard to give an opinion and not have people immediately start categorizing you into one side or another. So the antidote to this, in my mind, is twofold. The first is a recognition you're going to take some lumps. You're going to take some people taking shots at you that are going to be unfair. You can't avoid it. It's going to happen. And so the best thing you can do is just learn to either ignore the shots or give them their proper weighting, which is to say, no weighting whatsoever because they're meaningless. What I mean by that is, it's, people, I said, and I've said on this channel, I've said on Twitter, that I think Moon Girl is a good comic. Why do I say that? I think it's well done. I think the storyline's pretty good. I think it's trying to target a specific audience, and I think it hits that audience very well. I think you could hold it up with other books that Marvel, DC, and Independents have all done, and I think that it holds up as a YA-ish comic. I think it's written appropriate for the audience. I think it's fine. I said that. By saying that, I am a SJW, because people love to throw labels around. Well, the tricky part to get to is to realize that those labels are about the person saying them, not about you. Anybody can say anything about anybody. That's the power they have, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's power you have to accept. However, it does mean that you're going to get called a lot of names. It means that you're going to be drafted onto a side, but the only way you fully get drafted, the only way you fully land on that side is if you accept it, is if you say, you know what, okay, I'm going to just, I guess these are, the people who are attacking me are my enemy. The people who are defending me are my friends, and I'm just going to, let's go. The best way to do it is to, if you can, ignore the name calling, ignore the attempts to put you in a side. When people said I was a SJW for liking Moon Girl, I mean, they could say whatever they want. It's a dumb comment. I don't even know what SJW means anymore. I don't think anybody honestly does, no matter what they say. It's a comic that is aimed at its audience. By the same token, is Moon Girl aimed at me? No. Can I appreciate that it's aimed at somebody who likes it? Yes, I can. And so it doesn't need to be more complicated than that. And people will make it more complicated by saying, hey, did you realize that Tamara Bonvillain is doing the colors for there? She's a trans activist, and she's mean to people on Twitter and blocks people, and she's a nasty person. And I mean, okay, from my standpoint, for the comic itself, I can either say, well, it's going to bother me that she's involved, so I'm not going to buy it. Or I can say, I don't really care, and I'm going to enjoy the story I'm going to enjoy, and I'm going to ignore it. That's you. You get to make that choice. Everybody gets to make that choice, and it's not one size fits all. Sometimes somebody is just a little bit irritating, and you don't care, and sometimes they're a lot irritating, and then you do care. But the key is, whether you like the comic or not, it does not mean you're signing off on Tamara Bonvillain as being a hero or a villain. You may have your own reasons and your own tolerance level for what you like, don't like, want to deal with, and that's all there is to it. You don't need to have anybody else define it better or more for you. If you like Moon Girl, it does not mean that you're signing up for all these other things. One of my daughters likes Moon Girl. The other one can't stand it. The daughter who likes it is not a Tamara Bonvillain fan. She does not know who Tamara Bonvillain is. She has no idea what she writes on Twitter, and it is meaningless to her. The daughter who does not like Moon Girl also doesn't know who Tamara Bonvillain is. Neither one is on either side. Neither one has been drafted anywhere, but people will try and draft you based on your likes and dislikes. So the key is just, don't go in on that. as I said, I'm trying to create a third side. The third side is hard because the third side means people are going to attack you either way at various times. I mentioned Moo Girl. The other alternative is I can say, I want to use something different for a moment. I can say, hey, I think Chuck Dixon is a good writer. I think he's written some good stuff. By saying that, I am not signing up for a lifetime subscription to Indiegogo. I'm not signing up for a card in the Republican Party. I'm not. I'm not signing up for Comics Game. I'm not signing up for anything other than I saying I like Chuck Dixon. That's it. That's all you've done. But people will label you with what they want you to be. They will say these things, and you have to be able to have a thick enough skin to not accept that label. On Twitter, people have called me everything from I don't want to use all the words because it'll get I'll get in trouble with Twitter, or sorry, with YouTube. But I've been a pansy. I've been a new in male. I've been a SJW. I've been a bleeding heart liberal. I've been a apologist. I've been all of those things. I've also been somebody put me on a Twitter list called misogynist. I've been on. I'm pro Comicsgate. I'm Comicsgate adjacent. I'm Comicsgate perpendicular. I'm all the different things there. At the end of the day, I haven't been to any meetings. Nobody's served me food. Like you go. I don't. What's the analogy I'm making? None of these things have happened. If somebody comes at me, I'll talk to them fairly. It's difficult when you have two people that you think are normal, good people, and they're fighting with each other. And then you're like, well, what do you think? What do you think, Perch? And I'm like, man, I think you guys shouldn't fight. But I mean, do I need to pick a side? I will. One thing about me that I think a lot of people get wrong is I'm not a fence sitter in that I pick sides. I pick sides all the time. I just don't pick them consistently with a particular movement or ideology. I can go down a long list, and I actually wish somebody would do it for me. I go on these different shows, and I wish somebody would just like prepare the 60 questions, that are supposed to define who you are in comics, and just go off. I can give one word answers to all of them. I can do that, and what quickly happens is that both sides get disgusted with me pretty quickly, which is where I want to be. Um, that's just the way the ball bounces. I think comics, you shouldn't have to pick a side. You shouldn't have to be in this space, but it's hard not to because somebody's going to pick the side for you. So the challenge is not avoiding the sides. The challenge is being confident in who you are and the positions you take so that we can just enjoy comics. You can be on side comics and just be willing to accept that, yeah, people are going to throw a lot of names at you because that's what gets them off. I mean, it's only a matter of time. I mean, for those listening here, it is only a matter of time before I get an Ethan Van Sciver video done about me, or a war campaign video done about me. It's coming. It's definitely going to happen sooner or later. A lot of the names involved, I don't know. Somebody just pointed out to me who, not just, but in recent times, pointed out who John DeRoz. For a long time, I thought that guy and this Vox guy were the same person. They're not. Who knew? I don't. People are like, oh, that guy's a dumbass. Reading Perch. Perch is a dumbass. I say this because, yeah, you can't. I can't begin to tell you how liberating it is to just take people for what they say, not based on reputations and videos and other things. I've been very lucky, and then by and large, I've been able to stay out of it. There have been attacks. I've had the dildo memes thrown at me. I've had pros block. I've had various sides have been pissed. I mean, more is coming because if there's one thing people don't like, it's people who think for themselves. They really want you to be part of a tribe. If you're part of a tribe, you can be controlled. And I think it's better if you hold your own ground. You have your own opinions, and those opinions shouldn't line up with everything. But in the process, be prepared for a lot of people to make assumptions about who you are. And the trick is just keep your love for comics stronger than your desire to be defined. And then, probably everything works out. But I mean, good Lord, in today's times when everybody's walking around with face masks and, Everybody's scared to get on a plane and Disney World's closed and all the rest of this stuff. I mean, I don't know. There's more important things to worry about than who likes Moon Girl. I think. Anyway, what about you? Do you pick a side? Um, what do you feel? Um, Let me know in your comments below. Is my opinion here painfully naive? It probably is. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna continue to try and if I had to take a couple angry videos aimed at me, there are worse things. I mean, I won't play them. So it's like somebody's saying to me, it's like, man, it's gonna be. I feel bad for you because somebody's gonna make a really nasty video about you, and you're gonna just listen to that thing, and it's gonna be really hard. I'm like, well, or I won't listen to it. I mean, I won't hit play. I can do that. I don't know. Seems like that'll be okay. I have this theory, by the way, and then I'll shut up. I'm going on too long, but there's so much there's so many comics I haven't read, and I've read a ton of comics. I would any day of the week do a contest about who's read the most comics. I'm willing to bet I'm in that one. I'm a 1%er with comics I've read, but there are thousands of comics I haven't read right now. There are more movies and TV and books and things out there than I could consume in my lifetime. Like right now, if I just like focus, start reading and watching everything, I will die before I can watch it all. So given that, um, I don't need to watch somebody do a roast video on me. Like, I, I mean, there are Pauly Shore movies I'd rather see than that. And I'm Pauly Shore. I'd rather listen to Nickelback. Yeah, Nickelback. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter, Comic Perch. I'm on Facebook too, I guess. That's what I hear. Look forward to it. Send me questions. But most of all, thanks for listening. And whatever side you're on, I want to be on that side. You just let me know.